What's up, guys? Welcome back to the Jungle Beat podcast presented by Happy Hour Sports. I got a great show for us today, boys.
Yes, sir.
We got my favorite YouTuber of all time, I think.
Nice.
We got Dalton, UCF Jaguar. What's going on, brother?
Jaguar.
How are you?
Yo, what's up, fellas? Off season right now. Would love to be talking about the Jaguars Super Bowl, but nevertheless, 13-4 AFC South champions. We'll figure out in a week or so if Trevor Lawrence is the MVP of the league and if, if Liam Cohen is coach of the year. So, regardless, it should be a fun offseason to see kind of what James Gladstone cooks up.
Hell yeah.
Yeah, man. Super excited to even be in that type of conversation for, you know, MVP and coach of the year and comeback player of the year. Like these are fruitful times.
We better win something. Right now. We better win something.
Yeah, we got to win something, bro. We got to, especially if we don't get Pro Bowl. Yeah. I mean, let's give us something.
I need to come out of 2025 with something.
Yeah.
I'm taking something.
Yeah. I'm leaving with something.
What's the most likely award you think we win?
Comeback
player of the year.
Yeah, I'm thinking comeback player.
Yeah,
who's not going to win the VP? Coach of the year is too hard. It doesn't feel like it'll be Liam Cohen, but when you look at a list of candidates for comeback player of the year, it's like, you know, Stephon Diggs, Christian McCaffrey's been, I think, an MVP before. It just feels like he'd be the best candidate for it.
Agreed. Yeah. Agreed.
I feel you. Well, let's get a ceremonial cheers from across the screen. Cheers, boys. Cheers, buddy.
Appreciate cheers. Not even drinking, but cheers. This is cold.
It is. I actually just got that from the store.
Fresh and cold.
Awesome, boys. So
I got an unused shaker right here. So
nice.
Let's get it. So, Dawn, I want to throw a couple things at you. So, first off, I want you to lead us off here. What was your initial takeaway from this season? I know before the season, you know, everybody had mixed feelings going in. Some were like borderline 500. You know, some people were more optimistic. Flash predicted 13 wins.
Yeah.
So we had that in our bag. But
I literally landed right on exactly what we got.
Yep. So how'd you feel before the season started? And then how do you feel? What's your initial takeaways after the season ended?
Yeah, before the season, I thought that this team could push for like 9 to 10 wins. There were people out there that are saying, "Oh, like if you go 7-10 or 8-9, that's a successful season." I wasn't really that kind of person, just because I said we had talent, right? We have a quarterback that can play at a really high level. We have a bunch of guys that are getting paid a bunch of money. It's not like we're over here most cap space in the NFL and last and first draft pick all over the place.
Right.
We had talent. It was just all about how quickly we could kind of turn it around. So it was kind of a crazy and weird year at the same time. It's like you started off 4-1, but we couldn't really figure it out offensively. Like, I don't know what was going on with Brian Thomas Jr., and I don't think we still know what's going on with him.
Right.
You know, Travis Hunter, how are we going to play him, like, on each side of the ball? And obviously, we went into a little bit of a lull before the bye week where we were kind of 4-3, and I was like, okay, maybe we're starting to plateau, and maybe we're starting to see that 8-9 or 9-8 football team. But then, obviously, after the bye week, we just kind of kept winning. You had the downfall over in Houston, obviously, but you know, we rattled off 8 in a row after that. You finish off 13-4, which is honestly pretty insane. Still, to think that the Jaguars were 13-4. I mean, man, that's a lot of wins.
No, that's a lot of wins.
Losses. Yeah, it's a lot of wins, man. I mean, that's something that I always wondered, like, what it would be like to be one of those teams that got all those wins. But that was the Jaguars. So that was awesome. Got to host a division title game, and I think in the past I kind of took that game for granted because we've always hosted a wild card round and we always win. And then what do you do after that? And I didn't think losing was in our books, really. I thought this is kind of the team that we're going to at least make it to the AFC Championship game, and then obviously didn't. So it was a successful season. It sucks the way it ended, though. I'm still a little bit salty about it, especially when I look at if we would have had number 2 seed, we could have had a lot easier maybe of a time.
Sure. Yeah.
But it is what it is. I really can't wait to see what we do this offseason.
Yeah, for sure. I think, you know, easily, you know, the most successful season we've had in a while.
Yeah.
It definitely was a disappointing end to the season, but I think it gives us a lot of, you know, great things to look forward to going into next season.
Agreed.
And into the offseason.
Yep.
So one thing we didn't do on our bow tie, suited and booted show.
We look great. I went back and looked at that. Like, yo, we look good.
You definitely did.
Dude, I saw your
good.
reaction because I didn't realize the banner fell midway through the show until after we were done recording like the hour podcast. So I went back and I saw Flash's face. I was like, bro, somebody tell us next time. I was like, just hit the pause button.
No,
But,
I wanted to stop, but we were in such a flow.
We were.
that I couldn't even like. I was like, no, let's keep cooking. It's cool. We're good.
But no, one thing I did want to touch on during that show is kind of go through the position groups, right? I want to give out a year-end grade. So I think let's do it as a team today.
Sure.
Darian, start us off with the quarterback position. What do you give Trevor, obviously the quarterback position group, but Trevor really for his grade this year?
I will give it an A.
Okay.
An A. Especially given what we saw from him last year, concussion, getting hurt, shoulder injury, coming into this season, new offense, having to change his footwork, his mechanics, diving into a new playbook. Got out to a rough start, but he always stayed even keeled. Had his mistakes, but he answered. And then the way he closed out that last 2 months of football was incredible. Something we've never seen as Jaguars fans from a quarterback leading our team.
Agreed.
So, MVP finalists, comeback player of the year finalists. He's a Pro Bowler, alternate, whatever it is. But, it was incredible from Trevor this year. And I think he resubmitted himself as a consensus top 10 quarterback in football.
Agreed. Interesting. Okay. Flash, do you think he finally answered the question whether he's our guy going forward or not?
Oh yeah, no, he definitely answered the question. I want to give him a B plus.
Yeah, I'm with you on this.
I'm gonna give him a B plus. There was in the beginning of the season, he did make a lot of the mistakes that we have been harping on since he's gotten here. Missing the layups, but hitting the threes, you know what I'm saying? It's one of those things where still seeing those mechanics that he was reverting back to, but like you just said, that last 2 months of football was some of the most incredible football we've seen from a quarterback but that Arizona Cardinals game, my God.
Man, I love that game so much.
No, me
I
too.
said it last time, but it was just such an amazing game to experience and just overcome.
Yeah.
No, I just don't think, I don't want to have a heart attack playing the Cardinals. I just don't want to do that. That makes no sense to me.
Is there another quarterback in the NFL that can play like an A+ quarterback at times and basically
a D-?
Is there anybody else?
I
UCF,
don't
is there
know.
anybody
Josh
you can
Allen?
think of?
Josh
I'd say Josh Allen.
Yep.
He's our Josh
I think he
Allen,
did it in
man.
live action in the playoffs, right?
Yeah. Don, what do you think about Trevor's year, though? Honestly, how do you feel? What grade would you give him? Then, what do you think he still needs to improve on?
Yeah, I would probably give it an A-. I think it's not necessarily how you start, it's how you finish. And, of course, the year started off a little bit rough at times. I mean, he wasn't his best, but, man, the way he just fired off the last 8 games was incredible. And I think for the first time as a Jaguars fan, the Jaguars would get a holding call on 1st and 10 and be 1st and 20. I'm like, all right, we're good. We can get this.
Yeah, we can
Or
still
to be
move
like
the ball.
third. Yeah, or it'd be like 3rd and 15. I'm like, oh, we can get this. Like, Trevor can make this throw.
Yep.
So,
Yep.
I had so much confidence in him. But, of course, in the playoffs, 2 turnovers, not ideal. One of the picks was probably worse than the other, but didn't play I don't think, his best game in the playoffs, so I'm going to bring him down a little bit for that. But I think A- is good, MVP finalist, and I love how we don't have to have the uncomfortable discussion this offseason of, is he the guy?
Right.
What do we do with him?
Yep.
What do we do with that contract?
Yep.
How do we move off of him? Should we look at Kyler Murray? Should we look at Kirk?
God.
We don't have to have that conversation.
Mac Jones.
We don't have to have that
Sheesh.
conversation.
Yeah.
I mean, there were legit Jags fans out there. I wasn't one of them, but there were people having a conversation of you guys know all the madness people were talking about, but luckily, even the biggest Trevor haters, I don't think are out there talking that talk anymore. So
It's
it
silent
was
for
a great year
for the Trevor haters right now, man. Very silent for the Trevor haters.
For sure.
Connor, what would you give Trevor in terms of grade on the year?
I'm with you. I think B+ is a fair grade. I think the biggest thing for Trevor this year, we talked about before the season started, is his confidence, and he's got to be able to play with a chip on his shoulder and an edge that finally, Liam Cohen was able to bring out. So, he definitely did that. I think it was another, a 3rd or 4th system he's been in. So the first half of the season was kind of, he looked like an elephant. You saw it during the Kansas City game. He looked like a baby deer or baby giraffe trying to get his legs.
Yeah.
But I think that's an analogy for the whole offense. And I think you saw what he could do in the second half of the season. And you can see, obviously, what he's going to hopefully do in next year, too. having the offensive line, which we'll get into in a minute too, and the receivers really step up this year towards the end. I think was big for him. But yeah, I'm happy we don't have to talk about CJ Stroud versus Trevor or Trevor versus anybody else.
No. It's a wrap for those conversations.
Yeah, and listen, even if you don't have to love Trevor, at the end of the day, like you could still think he's got stuff to work on and he's too much of a roller coaster at times, but. What's your other option, right? Like, we're gonna ride with him because what's the alternative?
Nick Mullins,
Nick Mullins, being a mid-teen to late 20 guy that maybe can get you in the playoffs, but not over the hump. It's like at least hey, if he's hot, we're gonna get deep. If he's not, all right, we're not gonna make the playoffs.
Gotcha.
And honestly, just real quick before we go to a different position, this is like a main reason on why, even though I was hard on him throughout the season, I made a video about it and all that, put it on my page, and got a lot of slack for it, but. This is the main reason why I didn't want to give up on him entirely, right? You see Sam Darnold and what he's doing.
Right.
You see guys like Baker Mayfield what he did, right?
And he's much younger than those guys.
Yeah, and he's much younger and people were willing to like say, scratch it. Let's start over.
Right.
Let's get Marcel Reed if he requests gets into the draft and so on and so forth, or Arch Manning in the future. Like, no, this is how it goes. Like these quarterbacks are not going to be made overnight. It takes time, it takes patience, and look at what he's been through. Urban Meyer, Doug Peterson, Press Taylor, so on and so forth. So now that he has some continuity, we're going to see a lot more better play from going forward.
100%.
Definitely. Let's go ETN, Tootin, LaQuint Allen in the running back group. Darian, how do you feel about the running back group this year?
Yeah, I'll give it A-. I would have loved to see a better change of pace back rather for downhill runner. You know what I'm saying? Getting Tootin some more opportunities from a running standpoint of just him being more confident as a runner, being more elusive and whatnot. But I love what we saw from ETN this year. He was definitely had a bounce back season. Everyone counted him out as well. Everyone wanted him gone. Everyone said Tank Bisbee's is RB1, Tootin is RB2, but it didn't happen that way. And like we've been saying all year, you've been giving him so many ups throughout the year. Most consistent guy we've had on offense, from day one to the end of the year. So definitely give it what I give it a B plus or A minus.
A minus.
A minus. But I would love to see a good RB2 to really step in. We'll see that next year, hopefully.
Yeah, I think Tootin can do that. UCF, how do you feel about the running back group this year?
Yeah, I would probably give it a B, only because of this. Look, Etienne had himself a really good year, and probably his best year as a Jaguar. But he's going to be a free agent, and we don't really know what we're going to do with him. And I don't know if I've seen enough out of Bashal Tootin to say, okay, we have his replacement.
Same.
As nice as it was that Etienne was healthy the whole year, it would have been nice to say, like, hey, maybe we could have seen like a 3-game sample size of Bashal Tootin getting 15 touches just to see what that looked like. You saw some flashes. I love LaQuint Allen. The guy's a demon. But I would say B just because I feel like Bashal Tootin maybe left a little bit of meat on the bone when it comes to maybe what he could have done this year. But Etienne, a great year, obviously. But there were times where the run game kind of disappeared, and that was a little bit later on. Etienne, got a lot of his yardage later on, kind of through the pass game. And there are times where we needed to like run down the clock and win these games, but we kind of had to do it through the passing game because the run game, while it started off hot, it definitely didn't end very hot. So. Of course, you look at the Bills' playoff game; should have ran the damn ball more, but that is what it is. So I'll just go with a solid B because I don't know if we had the replacement for Etienne if he were to walk.
Yeah, that's fair. I think the offensive line really though was the one that was kind of falling off in the run game. Towards the end, I thought all the backs that we had this year had a really good year. I thought Etienne obviously had the best year. He ran the hardest I've ever seen him run.
Right.
He didn't fumble the ball, which was a big issue with him in the past. So I thought he had a great year. He didn't miss a stock up for us, like Darian was saying. So, I'm gonna give him just an A minus there. I think Tootin stepped up. I was not a Bashal Tootin guy because I was defending Etienne so hard in the offseason. Everybody's like, hey, Tootin's gonna take his job, or Tank Bigsby's gonna take his job. I'm like, guys, Etienne is the workhorse here. And but I like the rotation we have. I love LaQuint Allen. Quint is going to be still a staple on special teams. Obviously, best pass blocking running back in the league, unless you can name me a better one. And I think when he's got his carries, his opportunities this year, he made him work. So, Flash, how do you feel about him?
I for the running back group, I'm giving it an A plus. I'm not gonna lie to you. I think that when we're talking about being effective in all 3 phases, besides defense, of course, the 2 phases of special teams with LaQuint Allen forcing fumbles on then you have on actual offense. When we're not running the ball, Etienne's catching the ball and has the most receiving touchdowns of anybody, honestly. And you had Bishop Tootin in those goal-to-go moments really early on in the season. He was getting the ball and crossing and getting into the end zone when we needed it.
Yeah.
I think that they played very well. We've seen flashes of Bishop Tootin break for 15 to 17-yard runs on 3rd and 4s. You know, we saw LaQuint Allen in the pass blocking game, punishing people, getting in Max Crosby's face. I think what we saw from these rookies this season really elevated the running back room, and what we saw from Etienne in terms of not fumbling the ball, in terms of running downhill, his hardest that we've ever seen him run, and in terms of being effective in the pass game. We've never seen anything like that in terms of, you know, the running back that we drafted with Trevor. We haven't seen him this effective since he's been here.
Yeah.
So I got to give it an A+.
100%. Yeah, it's interesting. I think, you know, the running back group going forward, UCF, the one question I had for you is he a must sign? Is Etienne a must sign going into free agency here? I know you said that you're not comfortable having Tootin. Are you more or less on the fence of saying, hey, if we draft a guy or if we pick up, you know, somebody in free agency on a lower, you know, lower deal, are you more comfortable with that? Or are you kind of standing firm like, hey, we need to re-sign Etienne?
Yeah, I don't know what the Jaguars are gonna do. I think, to be honest, I think going into the year they weren't expecting him to have as good of a year as he had. That's why the Jaguars are trying to kind of get RJ Harvey early, were the reports out there. And I think I can't really remember back, but I think they were trying to do some other stuff to maybe position themselves to get some running backs. But then obviously Etienne had the year that he had, which was incredible. But I just don't know what an offseason will look like for James Gladstone, but I'll be honest with you guys, I'm leaning that they're going to let him walk, and either Bishop Tootin will be that guy or they'll draft a guy. I don't think they're going to let him walk and they're going to sign another running back to a big money deal. I just think that Etienne might have priced himself out of Jacksonville to the point where, like, as much as we'd like to keep him, I don't know if it would make sense for the Jaguars to keep him, to try to keep this like championship window open.
Interesting. I think he'll take a team friendly deal, though.
Yeah, well, I think it's going to come down to, and we're going to talk about this all offseason until it happens, Devin Lloyd or Travis Etienne, right?
Yeah.
I think they're going to make a decision and probably get one of those guys. The other thing you got to think about, too, and we'll talk about it later on, is, you know, with free agency, hey, do we let a few of these guys this year walk where we can have Parker, you know, Trayvon, Brenton Strange, you know, re-sign Anton, re-sign these guys on the second wave next year. So it's going to be interesting. But yeah, tight end group, we just talked about Brenton Strange. UCF, how do you feel about Strange and the rest of the tight end group? What grade would you give them?
Oh man, Strange, I'd have to give an A+. If I'm just grading Strange alone.
Yeah.
You saw the Jaguars without Brenton Strange, and I think I put a tweet out there. I think the Jaguars, like without Brenton Strange, they were like 1-3.
Yeah.
And with him in the regular season, only like one loss. And you felt the difference of when he was in there, because like I think he's the ultimate X factor in the Jaguars offense. I mean, the Jaguars, you know, like to do the intermediate pass game. They like to be able to be physical in the run game, and I mean they were really, really missing him when he was gone. So, but of course the Jaguars, they went bargain bin hunting at tight end. So you know, Hunter Long, Johnny Munt, Emmanuel Ogba, these guys were just kind of bargain bin hunting. They were just kind of there to fill a role. I think they did okay at it, but you know, I think the Jaguars will probably look to attack another tight end to kind of pair with Brenton Strange in the draft. So I guess with Brenton Strange, I'm giving him an A+, but I guess given the circumstances, I mean, you didn't commit a lot to tight end. So I'll just give the whole entire group maybe an A-.
Interesting. How do you feel, Flash?
Yeah, I think I'm just gonna give them a C+.
Yeah, I'm with.
Just off
I
the
think
simple
I think what he did was right, though. I think you do have to separate.
No,
them.
you do have to separate, because Brenton Strange was so pivotal.
He was like the MVP, arguably, of the offense.
He was polarizing almost to like the rest of the tight end group. And don't get me wrong, my guy Quentin Morris stepped up.
Yeah, I was just gonna say.
You know, he stepped up at
Oh
some
yeah,
point.
I got the name wrong. My bad. I mean,
You're good, bro. You're good. But like, I really enjoyed watching Quentin Morris. Quentin Morris made a couple of my stock ups because he was a really good guy for me. But to be honest with you, besides those two, the rest were kind of non-existent in my opinion.
Yeah, I mean, again, what Dalton said was true though. They invested bare minimum basically at the position, which I think is still an important position for them though. They go into, it depends on how Liam wants to attack things next year. I was a big go after Darnell Washington.
Yeah, Darnell Washington.
And we're talking about being physical in the run game, and I think with them getting a new head coach with McCarthy, like I think he might be an option to actually. Like a trade candidate in the offseason. That's who I like.
He broke his arm though. Like
He did.
So he's gonna. How long is he gonna be out?
I don't know. But
Broken arm is
not that long.
it shouldn't be that.
He should
long,
be back
but
by OTAs.
Well, okay. So if we can add somebody like that, where they're a specialist alongside, like a big body blocker aside Brenton Strange, we would kill people in the run game.
Agreed.
And
that 12 personnel would be crazy.
Yeah. So that's what I'd like to see happen. Darren, how do you feel about the tight end group though?
I like how we're breaking this down into two parts.
Yeah.
Because Brenton Strange, without question, I just did the numbers. If you would have played a full 17-game season, you would have had 765 yards in year 3?
Yeah.
Breakout year for him for sure.
Yeah.
And still, I think was at the end of the day with Evan Ingram, he had to fill those shoes, and I think he definitely did it.
He did that very well.
Exactly, and I think that was one of the moves. Of course, unfortunately, with Christian Kirk and Evan Ingram, we knew that moving off those guys, it was going to be okay because we had good replacements. Waiting in the wings, getting a better offensive system and whatnot. I'm sorry. Brenton Strange was phenomenal this year, in my opinion, when healthy. We saw the impact he had on the field. Like everyone's giving him an A+.
Yep.
Everyone else, though, Hunter Long, Munt, Quentin Morris. I love Morris too.
Yeah,
but we got to get another. We got to get another.
I'm with it. I
tight end
understand. I just for the sake of salary.
Yeah, it might not be as.
It might not be as fruitful as we want. And then we may pick up someone in the draft as well. If we're gonna get rid of anybody, get rid of the Munt and Long.
Yeah.
Keep Quentin Morris. Keep Brenton Strange, and then maybe bring on a rookie as well. That would be my
for sure.
formula.
Well, here's the thing. I don't think
because we got to grade these guys differently, right? Because you're going to grade, for example, Brian Thomas Jr. different than Tim Patrick,
Exactly.
Right? Even though, so it's hard to really evaluate this because it's like, how much did you put in and how much return did you get from it?
Yeah, that makes sense.
Well, that's a good lead in because I was going to say this is a completely kind of moot point because of how many great wide receivers we have in our wide receiving room this year. Now, as far as a grade, I feel like the grade is kind of up and down.
Roller coaster.
It's a roller coaster of a year for that room.
Yeah.
Even though we finished really high, obviously studs, breakout performances and years like Parker had the best year out of anybody in that group. Jacoby Myers was completely changed our entire offense. Put everybody in their own niche or role. So BTJ. A lot of people were asking for us to trade him at the trade deadline. I was the guy retweeting every other fan base asking for their team to go out and get Brian Thomas Jr. Because I know, I've said this before, but if Jacoby Myers was our floor, like Brian Thomas Jr. is our ceiling. So next year, like if we can get him cooking, get him a second year in the offense with Trevor, with Liam, I have all the faith in BTJ.
Yeah, his bounce back year is going to be crazy.
It wasn't, he has stuff to improve on though. Like he double catches everything. You can't do that in the NFL. He's a deep threat, but what else can he do? You know what I mean? So I think he's got a lot to prove, but I think he's going to be able to, make the group whole. Who else was out there too? We'll talk about Travis Hunter a little bit later too, but I think his was more of an incomplete. So as a group, I would give them.
I was going to say like
B minus, but it's so hard because you have to grade each individual guy.
Yeah, I mean it's almost like a overall kind of grade because you got a
can't go lower than a B.
You got A+ in Parker, but then you got like kind of like a D+ in like Brian Thomas Jr. So like it's one of those things. Then you got C+ in like Tim Patrick. Like you know what I mean? So like it's like a whole.
And then you had Trammell and Tim Jones playing.
Like,
we're forgetting the $10 million man and Diami Brown.
Oh yeah, we didn't even talk about Diami.
Oh my God, Diami Brown is like one of those. So for like a C, that makes sense. I'm gonna go C+. I'm gonna go C+ because they picked it up in the second half.
Yeah,
you know what I mean. Where we lost out on Travis Hunter, Diami Brown. I guess Austin Trammell and Tim Jones as well, but we had Jacoby Myers, Parker Washington really step up and make those plays that were necessary. C+ seems like a very fair.
I feel
very fair.
Dalton, what do you think? How about the whole group? You can start with Brian Thomas, wherever direction you want to go. There's like 10 different talking points.
Yeah, I'll just say this. I'll go with a C for the group. When the season started and all preseason and offseason, I mean, your top 3 receivers were Brian Thomas Jr., Travis Hunter, and De'Ami Brown. And I mean, let's be real with ourselves. That was awful. Like that turned into the Jaguars needing to trade for Jacoby Myers, and all of a sudden Parker Washington really stepped up. And then of course Brenton Strange helped out a lot in the receiving game as well. And then Brian Thomas Jr. had his moments later on. But I'll be honest with you, like my bold prediction this offseason, and this might upset you guys, but I think the Jaguars trade Brian Thomas Jr. And here's the reason why. Like, what is the Jaguars' value in Brian Thomas Jr.? Like, is he essentially going to be a guy that's going to get 3 to 4 receptions per game? Is he going to be a good decoy for the Jaguars? Is he a guy that's going to take some safety help away? If that's going to be his role in the Jaguars, that's great. But what if there's a team out there that says, okay, we want to give him 7 to 9 receptions per game. We think he's a 100-plus yard receiver. You know what that is? That's a team that values him more than the Jaguars value him. And I don't think it would be a trade where the Jaguars, like, trade Brian Thomas Jr. away for, like, a second-round pick. The way James Gladstone moves is he wants to get, like, legit players in return. Like, you see so many player-for-player trades that happens with him. So I think that they look at this and say, okay, like, we like Jacoby Myers, you know, we like a Parker Washington. Of course, they invested a lot in Travis Hunter. And then where does that leave Brian Thomas Jr. in the mix? Like, I think there's a team out there that, you know, in a draft where there was Rome Odunze, there was Malik Neighbors, there was Marvin Harrison Jr. I think there's teams that might really value him, especially when you look at some of these young quarterbacks. I mean, heck, there's one in our own division, and Cam Ward, that has nobody. I mean, I'm not saying they're going to trade him over there, but I'm just saying, like, what's his value on the Jaguars? What's his role? And will his role be somewhere else? And do you guys remember that report that came out that the Jaguars were interested in trading for him, or the Jaguars were interested in trading him away? Where did that start from? Did Brian Thomas Jr. start it? Or was it the Jaguars front office just trying to see if maybe some teams would call? So I don't know. That's where I am with that one. But yeah, the Jaguars have Jacoby Myers locked down, you know, solid. He's a very, very solid player in the most respectful way possible. I mean, he catches the balls thrown to him, but he's not this overly physical guy. He's not going to, you know, overpower anybody, but he's going to do his job. He's going to be where he's going to be. He's going to get in the soft spot of the zone. Parker Washington, just amazing year. He's getting leveling up every single year. Travis Hunter, can't wait to see what he has when he comes back, and I hope that, you know, maybe they figure out how to use him a little bit better, because I think we're all kind of begging for him at cornerback a lot, especially after watching the Bills game. But overall, it was a very volatile group. But, you know, we might even add to the group in the draft, so we'll just have to see.
Yeah, it is interesting. I think, just real quick, I think the trading Brian Thomas Jr. conversation's interesting. I'm not going to close the door on it necessarily, because I hear what you're saying as far as, like, if we can get, like, an established, like, defensive tackle that can push the pocket and help, you know, the pass rush, I think that would go a long way. I think Gladstone would be open to something like that. But I just have a very hard time with his rookie year, the production he had, the you know, the contract. He's on a rookie contract. Right. You know, this was the second year in the league. He's got more to develop. And I think if you look at Travis Hunter too, it's like, okay, if you move, you know, BTJ, fine, but then who are you going to fill that role with? Is it going to be Travis Hunter? Well, Travis Hunter needs to be CB1 next year. I think we all kind of came to that conclusion during you know, the end of the season.
Is it going to be Parker?
Well, I think this is my point though. Everybody right now fits in to their specific roles right now so well. You know, we talked about it a million times, like, you know, BT's going, you know, stretches the field. You have Jacoby on these deep dig routes. You have, you know, Parker on the option routes or underneath stuff with Strange and ETN. It's like everybody fits so well right now. And then you add a little bit of Travis Hunter over the top as, you know, a change of pace or, you know, some kind of gadget stuff. Even just giving these guys a blow here and there, I think you have such a good group. I'd hate to, you know, take that away from Trevor. So
and I agree with you for the most part, and I just look at around the league also, like just these second year receivers that came in the league. It was just a down year for kind of all of them. You had you had Malik Neighbors tearing his ACL. You had Marvin Harrison Jr., who was hurt most of the year. Rome Odunze didn't really do much this year either. But like, yeah, it was just a down year across the and BTJ was still kind of on top of everybody in yards.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Well,
So
I was
finished
shocked how
amongst the
well
best.
how much production he had.
exactly.
For
And,
how
and he didn't
bad
play
he played
what, like
early
4
on.
games.
Yeah.
He didn't play 4 games. He would have still had a 1,000-yard season had he played, like, you know what I'm saying? A few of those games.
Dalton opened up a can of worms with that one.
No, there's definitely a discussion.
Yeah, group, I would say roller coaster, right? I'll give it a, because early it was bad, man. I won't hold you.
Yeah,
I would say, I'll say C plus.
Okay.
Given the expectations we have for this room coming into this year, I love the way they ended. Got Myers coming in, Parker emerged. You know, BTJ found that, you know, his flow in a sense. Lost Travis. Hopefully we find a role for him in the summer and going forward in the season.
Yep.
But most importantly, just to talk about this trade, you have a high-end wide receiver 2 in Parker Washington. You have a chain mover on Jacoby Myers. And you have a gadget receiver in Travis Hunter. BTJ is your alpha. It wasn't pretty, but you still have to believe that this guy could still give you what he had rookie season, 1,200 plus yards.
I think it was closer to.
Yeah,
I could be
13.
wrong. I thought it was closer to 14.
Yeah, he finished top 5 in
like he
receiving.
said,
I
the
think he finished
franchise
third.
record
Yeah.
and I think touchdowns and
Yeah,
yards.
he
Something like
he,
that.
he finished top 3 in receiving yards his rookie season amongst all receivers. He should have been second team All Pro, right? He was a Pro Bowler. We as Jaguars fans has PTSD. You know, when a player has a bad season, we want to get rid of him. You know, and I think we have to trust Liam and Grant Udinski that they're going to figure this out. And in year 2 in the system, they'll have a more defined role for him. I think when you have a guy that can just take the top off a defense, you just can't move off that, especially in a rookie year 2
rookie
season. You know,
contract,
like it's hard to do that. So we'll see how it plays out. If they trade him, you know, unfortunate as it is, we got to get better as a team. I get that, but I can't let go of him right now. Even though it was underwhelming this season in totality, you got to figure it out going into year 3.
Agreed.
Listen, I think we have all the skill groups covered. I think the offensive line's the major, not concern necessarily, but it's going to determine how well this offense plays going forward, right?
Yeah.
Dalton, how do you feel about the offensive line and how they played this season? And how do you think they're going to, what do you think they're going to do going forward into the offseason? I know they signed Cole Van Lanen. They got Anton. Ezra Cleveland's super underrated.
Yep.
Hainsey had a good year, but talk to us a little bit about how you feel about the offensive line right now.
Yeah, I'll give it a B minus. I mean, I think the biggest upgrade was being able to bring in a Cole Van Lanen, and we kind of found our long-term left tackle, and it came at a time where Walker Little was just really struggling. I mean, he almost pretty much single-handedly lost us that Houston Texans game with how bad he played. Ezra Cleveland was good at left guard. Robert Hainsey good at center. Anton Harrison was able to level up. We got to figure out what to do at right guard. I mean, we always just have like old guys there, like Zane Beatles, Andrew Norwell. It's just always like we can never. And I don't really understand. Like we drafted Wyatt Milam in the 3rd round, but it was like they were afraid to play him too much. Like he played like as an extra tight end, or he'd come in on special teams. So interested to see what we have there. But overall, like I thought the pass protection was good for the most part. I didn't really understand why all of a sudden the Jaguars were able to run the ball so well. Then it felt like all of a sudden we were just not able to run the ball well. And it was something that we were hoping would get fixed, and that never really got fixed. Of course, they had a good game against the Bills, but it seemed like a little bit of an outlier, and the Jaguars didn't really stick with it. But if you're James Gladstone, just keep throwing draft picks at offensive line, at defensive line. You're going to find some, Jonah Monheim's out there, and so continue to build that up. But I'm looking forward to see how it does next year.
Yeah. No, I agree. I would give it. He said a B minus.
Yeah,
B minus. Yep, I'm right there with you. I think that Walker Little single handedly brings down the.
They said they're bringing it back. They said they're bringing back everybody. I think that's
GM speak.
Yeah,
bro.
that's
GM speech for sure.
That's GM speak. I know for a fact James Gladstone wants to catapult that man into Nevada.
But I don't think he's for what he is. I think it's an expectation thing. I think he's a decent swing tackle.
It's what he's getting paid.
Well, that's the issue.
Like, that's the issue.
His salary doubles next year.
That's what I'm
So
saying.
it's $7 million this year. It's 14 next year.
Like, come on. There's no
14
way we're
million.
paying that guy 14 million to be a turnstile.
Yeah.
We're just not. There's no way. He's a revolving door.
Flash gets so passionate about this.
Oh my God, he couldn't
Rouse him
block his ex on Instagram. Like I couldn't. It was so bad at times. Like I still go like that interception that Trevor threw in the end zone in Cincy.
Yeah,
I literally I have nightmares watching Walker Little just get blown off the line and watch Trevor get smacked, bro. It was so bad.
He wasn't terrible in run blocking, but his pass protection this year was awful.
It was awful.
Darren, how you feel about the offensive line?
I mean, offensive line in totality, I would give it a B- too. I mean, this is the same offensive line at one point this year wasn't giving up sacks. You know
Exactly. Yep.
Cole Van Lanning changed that whole entire lineup, right? Robert
Yes,
Haynes,
sir.
he stepped in and secured the center spot. You got some solid play from Patrick McCarr, even though he was dealing with a back injury all year. And then Ezra Cleveland, bounced back big time this year. And of course, you have your bookend right tackle and Anton Harrison. He took on the challenge this offseason, and he submitted his role as the legitimate start on the right side. So, I would love to see the young guys get developed, Wyatt Milam and whatnot.
Jonah Maheim.
Jonah Maheim.
Yep.
I mean,
That's your future. I mean, I think maybe not next season, but I think definitely the season after. Those two should be starters.
And the whole thing about Walker Little, I mean, I'm not going to bash him too much, but we all know he's just not good. He's getting paid a lot of money. He doesn't play good at left tackle, right tackle, or guard. It's just a very nasty situation with to deal with right now, unfortunately. But I would love to add some more pieces in the draft. Develop,
Please.
go from there.
Yeah.
But I think, given what we've seen in years past with these offensive linemen we've had on this team, especially during the Trevor Lawrence tenure, this was the better unit for sure. So I'll give it a B-.
I agree.
Yeah, I mean, they've, as far as like Gladstone talking about raising the floor, like this is probably one of the groups that this may be safety where it was just like, okay, you need a stopgap in the worst way. Just be decent. Don't need to be all-stars, all-pros, make Pro Bowls. Like, just don't lose the game for us.
Don't get your quarterback killed. And that's what they did this year.
I think I'm a little bit different from all of you guys. I think I was higher on the receiving core this year, and I'm a little bit lower on the offensive line, even though they played well at times, and I think pass blocking was good. I think the running the ball at the end of the season really kind of hurt them. And then also, if you really think about it, like we just talked about Walker Little for a while, that was a big issue. McCarry, I thought, was a big issue at times too this season.
Yeah, with that back injury.
So it's not a great group. It doesn't need to be all pros everywhere.
Grade?
Yeah, what's your grade? Yeah.
C+.
C+? Okay,
So it's not that far away.
He's been consistent. He's been talking about the running attack since I've been a part of this pod. So like he's definitely been there.
So
with it.
I was interested to see what your grade would
Yeah,
be.
I think they were average.
Okay.
And that's what they are as talent.
Yeah.
And I think if we could somehow upgrade the talent a little bit, like Dalton said, maybe it's coming from in-house with Milam at right guard, winning the job next year. I think that's really the only spot that you really could pick because everybody else is kind of set.
Yeah.
I think right guard is the only spot you could upgrade, whether free agency, trade, or draft.
Yeah.
Agreed.
Hey guys, I'm Vince Casito.
And I am Jocelyn Reyes. If you're looking to buy,
Call us 904-999-8286. We are the Market Makers team.
What do we got for D-line grade?
Yeah, this one's I mean, there's two different games, right? I mean, rush attack, probably A+. I mean, number one rush defense in the NFL, but that pass rush, man, not good. Not good. And I'll say this, like, if there's one thing that I really want James Gladstone to do this offseason, like, I want to have a nasty defensive line. Like, I want to have a defensive line that, like, people know, like, when they're discussing the top defensive lines, like, they have to discuss Jacksonville.
Agreed.
This defensive line just wasn't scary enough. And outside of Josh Hines-Allen, like, I don't know if we have many truly good edge rushers. And, not only do we need another edge, we need another interior guy. And James Gladstone agrees. I mean, he was in the running to try to get the Quinnen Williams here from the New York Jets, but they offered up a first-round pick, and I don't think he was willing to do that. So it might have to come in a blockbuster trade. Maybe it comes with the Brian Thomas Jr. thing I was mentioning earlier. But and if you want to get some of these high-level difference-making players, it usually is through a trade. I mean, you look at Jalen Ramsey; he's on his 4th NFL team, and he's never hit free agency. Usually, these guys just don't become available. So I would probably just give the defensive line probably just a solid C, just because the run game was good. But man, we gotta bring some guys in that get pressure on the quarterback, because it was not good enough against the Bills. It just felt like Josh Allen had Ollie to throw when he really needed, when on third downs and when he needed to throw. So, yeah, that's probably my grade for the group.
The defensive line is an interesting one because I feel like we got names.
Yeah.
But I don't know. Like, I feel like that one position, that other interior opposite of Eric Armstead, which I thought Eric played a lot better this season, moving in from, they had him on the edge, moving him back into his natural position at D tackle. Trayvon had a tough season. I think he's definitely a really good player, and I think he's going to get
injuries.
He's going to get a contract, but he's playing with so many different injuries. It was hard for him to have a consistent season. He had 10 sacks, double-digit sacks the last 2 seasons, right? So he was trending up, and I still think he's one of the best edge defenders in the league. Josh Hines Allen had a weird year. Like, I thought, on paper, not great. I was probably one of the most, I was pretty hard on him most of the season. But going back through these games, I feel like he did affect the passer. And I think if he had somebody inside, another like defensive pass rusher inside interior, I think he would have had a tremendous season.
Agreed.
And I think he was pretty unlucky with that. UCF, how do you feel about Josh Hines Allen's season? Because it's a little bit polarizing right now.
I mean, I thought he was fine. I think that he just gets a lot of attention on him, like especially in that Bills game. I mean, the Bills were just basically making sure they followed wherever they went. He was the only guy that they were worried about, right?
Yeah.
And if you look at, the Texans, like Will Anderson's great, but like Danielle Hunter makes him that much better, right? Danielle Hunter's great, but Will Anderson makes him that much better. And I don't think he had a running mate this year. And I know Trayvon Walker had his injuries and stuff like that, but man, I think if you can get another solid force with him, another guy that defenses have to spotlight, I think that's going to unlock him that much more.
Yeah,
I agree.
Flush, is the issue getting another edge or getting another defensive tackle?
It has to be the interior D-line. It has to be another defensive tackle, in my opinion, because I'm a firm believer in our 2 edges. I'm a firm believer in Trayvon Walker. I'm a firm believer in Josh Hines Allen. I think that they do what they can to collapse the pocket as much as possible, and what they do, sealing that edge, makes the quarterback step up into the pocket. When that quarterback steps up into that pocket, somebody has to be there.
Yeah.
And if I can double Eric Armstead with, the center and and I can have Devon Hamilton one-on-one, and I know you're not going to do anything.
Yeah.
Like, it's one of those things where we have to change that. That has to change.
Well, look at what kind of New England didn't have. I mean, Chason had like a renaissance here, and for coming out party for him.
Good for him.
In New England. But Christian Barmore and Milton Williams, the 2 defensive tackles for New England, those 2 guys, when the playoffs started, have been out of the world, as far as like getting a pass rush.
Yeah.
And you could see that's kind of the polar opposite of what we had going on. And it makes those edge guys, run free because they're getting doubled inside, right?
No, 100%.
So
but also, like, let's consider who they were playing. But, like, you know what I'm saying?
I mean, Denver doesn't have a bad offensive line.
Yeah, they have a really
they played pretty well.
But also, I don't think that if Bo Nix is playing, and this isn't a Denver or anything podcast, but if Bo Nix is playing, I don't think that the same
It'd
things
be
are
closer,
happening.
yeah.
Like, that wouldn't happen that way.
I didn't give a grade either, but what would you give for?
I'm giving it a C as well.
I'm going to give him a C as well.
Yeah. C, I mean, like, you could break it down like Duval County grading system: 4 for an A for running attack, 2 for a D in passing. You know what I'm saying? Getting after the passer, average that out.
Yeah.
It's a C, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, like, we need a pocket pusher. We need one. I love the run defense this year. I can't tell you the last.
D-Ham had a great season.
Exactly.
But in the run game, he was one of the best. And then in the pass game, he was one of the worst. He just can't be on there on third down.
Exactly. I can't tell you the last time the Jaguars had this stout of a run defense. I mean, we're used to getting mauled, against opposing running backs. But when it came down to getting to the passer, like, it was hard to watch at times. Like, and to answer your question, like, I think it's definitely interior, right? And I talked about it before the pod started, like, looking at who could we trade for, because the conversation is that the Jaguars are trying to go after a big fish D lineman, right?
Yeah.
Interior guy. You got guys.
Hold on. You about to? Are we getting to the free agents?
Well, we can mix it all in together.
We'll make it all in.
Go ahead.
Yeah, because the guy Dalton brought up the BTJ trade, so I'm gonna say I would love for us, and I'm not sure how much it'll cost, but someone like Deron Payne from the Washington Commanders.
How old is he though?
He got to be like 29, 28, 29, around that age.
Is he more of a run stuffer than a pass rush?
I think just having that guy up front that's always been a reliable, defensive lineman for the Commanders. Like, he's always been a really stout player. He can provide that pass rush juice, be good in the running game as well and stuff like that. And I think he'll mesh well with our front.
That's not a bad choice at all.
Yeah, you have guys like Zach Zeiler from the Dolphins. They're a front guy too. They're a little more on the expensive side. Kenny Clark, names I'm throwing out there that are affordable that we can go after, right? Because you're not going to be able to get the big name guys. We tried after Quentin Williams. You see how much that costs.
Let me throw something out. UCF, let me ask you a question. What if we traded BTJ to the Giants to partner up to pair with Neighbors, and we got Dexter Lawrence and maybe a pick back?
Man, look.
Or maybe let's just say 1-for-1 for the sake of conversation.
Yeah.
Dexter Lawrence for BTJ.
Give him Walker Little as well.
Have you seen the Sexy Dexy dance?
I have.
I'll be doing it in the studio.
The only pushback I would give you is age difference, but other than that, and also contract. But Dalton, how do you feel about that one?
I mean, you think the Bengals want a third wide receiver so we can get Trey Hendrickson?
That's what
do they need a third guy?
That's what.
But how
we're
are you
on the same page.
How are you gonna play him? I mean, you're gonna kick Trayvon in just on third
But
down?
here's my thing, because our issue isn't on first and second down, our issue is on third down.
Right,
I'm moving Trayvon Walker inside on pass rushing downs, and I'm having a quick twitchy edge rusher over to help generate pressure because I love Trayvon Walker on running downs on the outside, but man, you move him on the inside on these pass rushing downs, and you bring another pass rusher in there and keep Devon Hamilton kind of in there. I mean, I think that's your secret sauce to kind of unlocking this thing.
Yeah,
that's fair.
Agreed.
I think we had one of the best linebacking cores in football this year.
Yeah, definitely.
Foye Oluokun is, I think he had 1,000 tackles in his career now.
Yep.
He just amassed that this year. Crazy underrated. Devin Lloyd was in the Defensive Player of the Year conversation
Second team All-Pro.
most of the year. Second team All-Pro. I love Dennis Gardeck.
Yeah.
I love Dennis Gardeck. I like Ventrell, who didn't really play that much this year. So, Don, what do you give them for a grade this year for the linebacking core?
Yeah, I'll give it an A+. I mean, Foye Oluokun is always reliable. Devin Lloyd played out of his mind this year. And I think maybe this time last week I was thinking maybe Devin Lloyd walks just because I had a feeling Anthony Campanelli would get a head coaching job. And I was a little bit worried about that contract year stuff and what he looked like maybe with a different defensive coordinator because I didn't know if all of a sudden Anthony Campanelli unlocked him and once he leaves he's gonna go back to kind of being his old confused self. But he played out of his mind. I'm worried that maybe he'll be too rich for the Jaguars. I mean, he's a top 5 free agent on every single list out there.
Agreed.
But, Gardeck came in there, did his thing, of course. So I'd have to give this. I mean, the starters, this an A+.
Yeah. I'm with it.
I like it. I'm the same with you. I think the Devin Lloyd conversation is an interesting one. I'm a huge Devin Lloyd fan.
Huge.
I think your guy on the edge too could be Devin Lloyd. By the way, they used him better this year than they did in most years in the past. He's an on ball and on the edge type of linebacker that they didn't really use him. They blitzed him more, which was great on passing downs. So he wasn't getting confused and obviously dropped back and had a bunch of interceptions. But I thought they could have used him even more on the edge too, to get a little bit more of a pass rush. But if we lose him, I think I still believe in Campanelli coaching up. I know they got Kaiser, but he's not going to fill Lloyd's shoes. They got Ventrell, who's shown flashes, at least in the run game.
Yasir Abdullah.
Yeah,
I'm an Abdullah fan.
It's gonna be in the aggregate if they lose him. Though I think I personally I wouldn't want to lose him, but what I think's gonna happen is we're gonna bring ETN on more of a team friendly deal, and we'll let Devin walk. How do you feel?
I don't know why we would do that. If ETN will take a team friendly deal, why wouldn't we franchise tag Devin Lloyd?
Well, we don't have the cap space is the issue. The other issue is, I mean, we could tag him, but it's at what Dalton was saying. It's closer to the 20 million.
And also with franchise tagging Devin Lloyd, he's on it's a top 5 of linebackers. Right. They're considering a lot of edge rushers as linebackers, and we know how much edge rushers get paid. So franchise tag doesn't really seem like the right option unless you're planning on tagging and trading him, and that team gives him a new deal.
Got you.
I'd be open to that as well. I think on the open market, if there's a team that has money, he can get something stupid. Like every year you see in free agency, these guys blow up whatever the past contract expectation was. Yeah. He could get like 30 mil or close to it this year.
Sheesh.
I don't know if he's worth that. He's a great player. He's gotten better. I think we could use that money at better, serve elsewhere.
I don't know. I don't want Devin Lloyd to go anywhere. I'm not gonna lie.
I don't want him to leave either.
I know
but
that. I know it's the business. It's the
side
business
of it.
of what's going on. And has he earned the money? Yes.
Right.
But it's just one of those things where why break up the band?
Well, yeah, but you look at the 2 exit interviews too between Etienne and Lloyd. Just
Oh,
go back
yeah,
after
they were
this.
very different.
Just go back
Yeah.
and listen. To
Oh, no,
him.
I remember.
Etienne's like basically saying,
I wanna
please,
stay
please
here.
resign me.
Please resign me.
And Devin Lloyd's like, we'll
Wherever
see.
God takes me.
I'm believing in God's hands.
I'm believing in God's
It's not
hands.
me. It's not me if I say no.
Yeah.
But Darren, what do you think?
A+ for the unit. I mean, second team All Pro, Agent Zero, man. I mean, like, just continue to reiterate that he was remarkable this year. Think about all the game-changing plays he had. Floyd was sound and whatnot, but I'll tell you one thing: if he is to walk, I hope this team, this franchise, this staff has a replacement on deck.
Right.
It is not on the team right now, in my opinion.
I don't think so either.
I got a lot of love from a former Gator, Ventrell Miller.
Yeah.
I like Kaiser, but no. You got to go out there and get a replacement. And if they were to franchise tag him, I looked up the numbers. $27.6 million.
yeah. I think
For
he
a
gets
tag.
that. I think gets that on the market.
Yeah, for sure. It kind of reminds me of Zach Bond from last year for the Eagles. How he had a phenomenal year, breakout season, and everyone was like, "Oh, the Eagles let him walk." They brought him back. Now, of course, they had a lot more flexibility with their money.
Yeah, they did.
And he wasn't what he was last year, this season, but he was still really sound and a reliable player.
Yeah.
I am scared if we do bring him back, we pay him a lot of money, he does revert back to, like Dalton says, his confused ways a little bit. But it's a double-edged sword. He was phenomenal this year. I would love to see him back, but man, I don't know if he will. But overall, give the group A.
I
If
would.
plus.
I wouldn't necessarily mind Ventrell if we put that money to good use elsewhere, like defensive line or maybe upgrading the offensive line a little bit, something like that. But that might be, we were talking about draft soon too. Like
Yeah,
that
for
might
sure.
be
It's-
something where we move off these 3rd round picks or the 2nd round pick and either get an established guy
Yep.
Yeah.
that we can plug and play there, or just trade up at the top of the 1st round for the
And
linebacker.
I like to add, this is a very deep linebacking
It is.
draft.
It is
And
a
also,
very deep
you got
linebacker
a
draft.
former, I don't know how much he'll get paid in the offseason, but you got a former camp linebacker out there in Cam Walker. Quay Walker. I'm sorry.
Quay Walker, yeah.
Quay Walker.
Packers, yeah.
So, yeah.
Cornerback room.
Oh, God.
It's an interesting
It
one.
is.
But based on last season, Dalton, what do you give the cornerback room as a grade?
Yeah, this one. This one's weird. I mean, maybe the play of the year was probably made by Tyson Campbell, right? When he stripped Nico Collins and kind of eventually helped win the Jaguars that first game against the Texans, dropped that terrible home losing streak we had against them.
Play of the year is strong, but yeah, okay. yeah, I get it.
But yeah, they made the trade for Greg Newsome. I don't think that really worked out. I mean, Monteric Brown, I thought, played pretty well, but he has his limitations. We got teased so hard by Travis Hunter because, man, I think we were all really excited about him at wide receiver. And I know I was. I didn't really give much thought to him at cornerback, but man, he is just so fluid, natural cornerback, just gliding on these players' hips.
Agreed.
Should not have had that pass interference against the Bengals. I'm really excited to see how he does. But overall, I mean, it was injured. We lost Jordan Lewis at the end. I thought Jarian Jones really stepped up. So I guess I'll have to go with a solid C because I thought, obviously, I think Travis Hunter getting hurt and just a Greg Newsome trade, those things has kind of dropped it down a lot.
Yeah, 100% with you. I think I think a C is fair. I think I was very surprised by Buster Brown this season.
I was too.
I didn't see him the year before playing that well. But in this new scheme, I thought he really stepped up, played physical.
He excelled.
I thought he's a free agent too, which I don't know. I think he's a really good cornerback too for this scheme. I think he also, if he's got his head on his shoulders right, I think if he looks around the other options he has out there, I don't think he's going to play as well in other schemes. It's got to be zone heavy, you know what I mean? So I think he comes back hopefully and is that cornerback 2 to Travis Hunter's CB1. As far as a grade, the C is what I give them. Jordan Lewis played unbelievable. Jay Lou was great in the beginning of the season, kind of teetered off a little bit as he got injured. Jarian played well again in the nickel too. It's a little bit all over the place though, because Newsome, I disagreed with the Tyson King, even though I understand long term getting off Tyson's contract and bringing in Newsome. I understood that part, but I felt like at the time the cornerback room was playing or the secondary was playing so well together. And it's kind of like when you mix up the continuity on the offensive line, it's just, or any other position group, it's like, why would you mess with it?
Yeah.
So it wasn't there for me, but
No, I'm right there with you. I got a C as well. There were just moments where they're giving up so much, just so many yards and so many big plays to
the
tight
Bills.
ends.
The Bills game was the most obvious one.
Yeah, the Bills is the most obvious one. But then you had the Bengals as well. Then you have and then you trade for Greg Newsome, and you don't really see a huge uptick. You know, you see kind of maybe a same type of production.
Yeah.
So it's just one of those things where
I did forget about Tyson Campbell in Cincinnati. So yeah, they should have moved off.
Yeah. No,
My fault.
100%.
I did forget about that game.
100%. But yeah, a solid C.
Yeah, I'll give it a C. I was never the biggest Tyson Campbell fan, honestly speaking.
Me neither,
So I didn't care who we replaced with him. Newsome, you weren't, you know what I'm saying? But, we don't got to bring you back if we don't need to.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah, he's probably not going to be back.
yeah, for sure. But, I mean, we ranked 32nd in pass defense last year. It couldn't have been worse than that, right? So, given the turnaround this year, the better play, the more confident tackling in space, I'll give it a C, right?
Yeah.
We got the best out of we could with the guys we had. We need a CB1. We'll talk about that later. But, yeah.
It was an
overall,
F last year.
It
So
was, it was ungradable last year.
Another F last year that I think made this whole secondary better was the safety group.
Absolutely.
Yes.
And the development of a lot of guys.
Yeah.
Dalton, how do you feel about the safety group? What do you give them for a grade?
Yeah, and one last note about the cornerback group before I move on. One thing about the cornerback group, though, it's like every time the Jaguars played a really good wide receiver, they would get absolutely cooked.
Yes.
Right? I mean,
Agreed.
They have a wide
and we
receiver
didn't
one.
Yeah, and we didn't play that many good ones this year, but whenever we played them, like Jackson Smith and Jigba, like Jamar
Fried.
Chase, heck, even Devontae Adams, like Michael Wilson took off against us. Like
Nico.
like
T.
so,
Higgins.
and
T and
yeah,
Nico.
Nico. And you saw later on, I mean, I think we avoided a lot of the great wide receivers because, and even in the AFC playoffs, there weren't that many great ones. But yeah, that's I think it could have even been lower if we had the opportunity to play more great ones. So yeah, the safety room, I think this is where Anthony Campanelli probably made most of his money just because everybody got better here, right? I mean, and even Andrew Wingard, it seemed like he turned into a different player. Antonio Johnson went from the team's biggest liability to like a guy you didn't want to get off the field. And even Eric Murray was a guy that we didn't really give it much thought when we signed him in free agency, but he had an incredible role for the Jaguars when it comes to being like the veteran guy, and he was punching balls out, and he was going kind of always where he needed to
Definitely
be.
physical.
So yeah, this one, I mean, just when it comes to just all these guys leveling it up, and we haven't even seen Caleb Bransaw yet, so that should be something to look forward to next year. So yeah, I'll give this one an A+. Why not?
Yeah.
Yeah, Antonio Johnson jumped off the page for me. I think from where he came last year with him and Darnell Savage at the safety room to what we had this year. And I think, like you mentioned, like Dewey stepped up at times, Eric Murray stepped up at times. We had a lot of guys making plays, and Caleb Ransaw is a great one where, even if we lose Dewey in free agency, I'm comfortable with the guys. I even liked Rayon Lane. I was asking for Lane to be in there. I thought he played well on special teams this year, but I didn't think he was that bad when he was asked to play free safety.
No, not at all.
So I didn't mind it. I give him an A.
Yeah, I give him an A too. I think that there was a lot of physicality from the safety group that I really enjoyed seeing. They were very ball hawky as well, if that makes sense. Just being where the ball was, creating those turnovers. So yeah, I give him an A as well.
Yeah, I'll give him a B+. Antonio Johnson turned out to be one of the better safeties in football according to PFF. And if you actually watched him on the field, he was amazing to see.
The best.
Yeah,
safety.
the best. Yeah, for
Okay,
sure.
not
yeah.
one of.
Yeah, the best.
The best.
Yeah, I'm saying. So, like, he was nice. He could have got all pro as well. But the other guys, I mean, they were limited in their athletic ability at times, right? I felt like they were always there and covered at times, but they got attacked a lot. We saw that in key games, Rams, Seahawks, Bills, I think there's a lot of room for improvement in that room outside of Antonio Johnson. Mentioned Caleb Ramsaw. Not really.
You're not a Caleb Ransaw guy.
I got to see it, man. I got to see it's
Yeah,
hard for me
that's
to
fair.
trust
He
someone.
wasn't a Caleb Ransaw guy.
Well, no, it's fair.
it's
I mean, we
hard.
haven't seen it in the NFL, and he's changing positions.
Changing
so.
positions, coming off a Litzfrank injury. I really love this safety class as well, man.
Yeah, they should draft
But
somebody.
overall, I'll give it a B+.
Okay.
Nice.
I'm not mad.
Let's go into just real quick. We'll kind of start wrapping up a little bit, but let's go into the biggest needs that this team has going forward. So I know we talked about defensive tackle a little bit. Is it cornerback? Is it defensive tackle?
It's defensive tackle.
How do we all feel?
It's defensive tackle for me personally.
What's your dream? What's your dream scenario in the offseason that we do?
Getting a defensive tackle,
3 points.
Sure. A defensive tackle, a safety, and one more interior O lineman. And I think that's the dream for me to be able to check those boxes.
Got you. UCF, what about you?
Yeah, I mean, I think young, explosive defensive tackle, young, explosive defensive end as well. Like, I think you need 2 guys on the defensive line. And I don't want to say, like, oh, defensive end, and we go out and get, like, Khalil Mack, right? Like, I want a young guy with a lot of upside that can kind of push us forward there. So those are my 2 things. And as the third thing, I would guess probably tight end. I mean, I think getting another tight end to kind of help push this offense forward and elevate things. I mean, I think – like Speed was saying, I think the offensive lineman we're just going to keep throwing draft picks there, and I think they'll kind of resolve itself in that way.
Agreed.
But yeah, those are probably my 3 big things.
Nice.
The only thing I didn't think we had Dalton talk about enough was Travis Hunter. Overall, his total season this year, how'd you feel about it? And then going into next season, how do you see him playing in the offense and on the defense side of the ball?
I mean, defense, awesome. Offense confusing, and I mean that quite literally. He was confused the whole time he was playing offense.
Yeah.
How many times before the snap you kind of saw him like putting his hands up, not really understanding? But it was crazy because he'd have like 1 catch per game where he had just insane yards after catch. And you're like, bro, we need that more. And we got teased with a 100-yard game against the Rams, and then we didn't see him again, man. I think we saw 7 games of him this year.
Yeah.
So it really felt like after the bye week was where we're going to see him, see his full evolution, but we didn't get to see it. So I just hope next year, like, I don't really want him out there on offense unless he really knows what he's doing, because I think that really hurt us this year. Yeah. I think we were just trying to force him into offense so much to where, like, now, like, we know we can rely on Jacoby Myers. We know we can rely on Parker Washington, Britton Strange. Like, we know there's guys to give the ball to, so we don't have to force him into that role. We can maybe put him in some packages a little bit more comfortable. And yeah, we want him to be playing cornerback pretty much all time, because, bro, he is just fluid. He's smooth at it. It feels like that is his more natural position. I think in the offseason, a lot of us were a lot more excited about him playing wide receiver. But yeah, cornerback is, I think, where he's going to make a lot of his money.
Yeah. I still, it's not revisionist history. I did say this before the season started. I thought they should have started him at cornerback, one for need, but also I think just to allow him that time to learn the playbook, get better as a route runner. I think that's what you'll see next season. I think they'll have him full-time at corner, be limited early on in the season, and then hopefully ramp up to where he is playing 80% of the snaps somehow, on both sides of the ball. Yeah. But I think he's most needed, obviously, as a corner. Yeah. Let's get back to the last thing. We'll wrap on this on the head coaching positions in the NFL. Robert Saleh and Daboll just went to the Titans. How do we are we getting lukewarm, worried about the Titans?
I'm worried about them.
Are you really?
The coaching staff, I'm not worried about them next year, but I'm just saying big picture. Like, I think those two together are pretty good. And I think the development that you saw with Josh Allen from Daboll, you could probably see the same thing, because Cam Ward's got a lot to clean up. Yeah. They got zero talent on that team on both sides of the ball other than Jeffrey Simmons. Yeah. So I'm not worried about them, but I'm just saying, how do you feel about the signing?
I'm worried about them from a pest standpoint. They can be in your way. They can ruin your season. They got some good player coaches over there. I think, regardless of what happened with, Saleh out there with the Jets in regards to his offense, his defense has always finished top 5, top 3. He can put together an elite defense. Brian Daboll, say what you want about his tenure with the Giants, he can develop quarterbacks, right? Or he get the best out of his quarterbacks, dating back to his college days. Mac Jones, Jalen Hurts, NFL, Daniel Jones, Josh Allen, Jackson Dart this past year. So he's going to get the best out of Cam Ward. And also, they have the most money to spend in free agency. So when you bring in coaches that are player guys, they have that leader mentality, high draft capital. They're not going to be – I mean, I could see them being a dark horse playoff team next year. Yeah. I won't lie to you, but they're going to be a pest, man. They're going to be a team that you just can't the Titans, okay, 41 points today.
And I get what you're saying. I think my thing is, if I'm a vet player right now, a veteran player, do I want to go over there?
I think I would. I think
Really?
I think I would want to live in Nashville, and two, I would want to play for Robert Saleh. And depending on which side of the ball is, I don't mind either coach. I think what he said, what Darian said about the cap space, like they're gonna throw money at people, and I think if you don't have a recognizable head coach, that doesn't really go that far. We saw that happen a lot in Jacksonville, right? But if you have somebody that's basically proven, I know that the Jets didn't work out great, but I'm just saying his whole tenure with the 49ers, Dayball's had success elsewhere too, where players are going to want to go there. And that's really the key that I'm worried about is the draft capital and the cap space.
And I'll add one more thing. Hopefully it doesn't hit the market, but you got someone like George Pickens.
Yep.
He could be the highest paid free agent receiver in the market. Titans can go out there and get him.
Dallas is gonna resign him.
Well, no, Jerry Jones is an interesting guy. So
No, that's fair.
that's
fair.
So
Dalton, how do you think? What do you think about the signing of both head coaches and kind of the Titans in the AFC South?
Yeah, it's hard because they're so void of talent right now. Mike Borgonzi, the GM, has a lot of work to do because I remember even watching them this year. It's like, man, they're not going to be good for at least like 2 more years.
Exactly.
Not really worried about free agents because free agents, they're going to run where the money is, and it's also no state income taxes. We've been using that for the Jaguars for the longest time. And let's be real, if you give them a bag, players come. I mean, we really ever had that many issues signing like free agents? I mean, maybe you can't get like the 36-year-old player that's on his last year that wants to win a ring, but we've never had issues when it comes to bringing guys in. But Robert Saleh, last year, we were trying to talk ourselves into being okay with Robert Saleh and Trent Baalke, and I was not okay with it. He wasn't a good head coach for the Jets, guys. I mean, he had his team was constantly unprepared. He had clock management issues, and he just turned into a shell of himself over there. Like, he was a different guy than he was for the 49ers. Now, are we hiring him for the Tennessee Titans and basically saying it was all the Jets' fault? I don't know. But Dable going there, I know it came out that the Giants were trying to move up to draft a Cam Ward, so he likes that connection. But overall, there's only one way to go, and that's up, right? I mean, they were awful last year. They were awful the year before. They're going to be awful in 2026. Maybe they can do something in 2027.
Yeah. Awesome, bro. Well, hey, I appreciate you coming on. Obviously, it was a great episode for us, but we've been wanting this to come on, have you on the episode for a long time. So
Definitely a long time.
Let's give a shout out to you. Where can people find you? I know there's a lot of people already watching you, but shout yourself out.
Yeah, I mean, I'm on every social media platform at UCF_Jaguar, whether it's YouTube, X, TikTok, Instagram. I'm on all of them, and I just make a lot of Jags content. I have been since 2017, so going to keep going after it.
Awesome, brother.
Nice.
Well, I appreciate you coming on. Let's get a Duval and get out of here.
1, 2, 3.
Duval.
Appreciate
Peace.
it, man.
Thanks,
Peace,
man.
guys.